West Asia is standing at the same and dangerous crossroads once again, with hours to go before U.S. President Donald Trump's latest deadline to Iran. It is set to expire. The region is holding its breath. Will this be the moment of diplomacy or the beginning of a far more devastating phase of war? In his recent Truth Social post, Donald Trump has warned Iran to wipe out their whole civilization and push them to a point of no return. He's vowed to end the 47 years of corruption, extortion and death under the Ayatollah regime. But is Donald Trump's road to peace flowing through devastation? With Hormuz remaining as the main flashpoint in this war, American strikes are now continuing in full force, blurring all red lines. Trump's message to comply or face devastation. It puts the focus on the shifting deadlines for Iran. Sample this. 22nd of March, he says open Hormuz in 48 hours. On 26th of March, he says open Hormuz in the next 5 days. Then the next day, on the 27th, he says open Hormuz in 10 days. Then on the 4th of April, Donald Trump says open Hormuz in 48 hours. On the 5th of April, he says open the Strait of Hormuz by Tuesday. And on the 7th of April, that's today, he says open Hormuz by Wednesday. Donald Trump's extension has been a pattern of further escalation, at least so far. Trump has threatened to blow up every bridge and every power plant in Iran if Tehran fails to agree to his demands. He's also vowed to send Iran back to the Stone Age. In fact, the situation on the ground is volatile at the moment, even as Washington talks about a temporary ceasefire. Remember, Tehran is calling it a trap, a chance for the United States and Israel to regroup and strike Iran once again. Iran, on its part, has been demanding a permanent end to this war. They have publicly rejected the proposal shared through their intermediaries. Iran instead has sent a 10-point proposal to Washington through Islamabad. While diplomacy continues to remain stalled, the battlefield is now heating up, and Tehran's firepower cannot be underestimated. The downing of the U.S. F-15E fighter jet is a major example of this military prowess that Iran has. Last week, they released a list of 8 major bridges in West Asia, which could be targeted by the IRGC. The downing of the F-15E Strike Eagle, remember, reportedly marked the first such incident of a U.S. fighter jet being shot down by enemy fire in the last over 20 years. On the very same day, Iran also claimed to have destroyed one A-10 Warthog fighter aircraft that fell in Kuwait. And that is not all. In the process of rescuing the officer stranded in Iran, U.S. ended up losing multiple aircraft. According to Iranian military, 2 Black Hawk helicopters and 2 C-130 aircraft were blown to pieces. It also said that an MQ-9 Reaper and a Hermes 900 drone had been destroyed over the Isfahan province. Now, stopping Iran's nuclear program is Washington's endgame. Its military campaign aims to prevent Iran from achieving weapons-ready nuclear stockpile, while airstrikes and long-range attacks can damage facilities. Remember, destroying or even removing Iran's nuclear stockpile would likely require a full-scale ground invasion. Washington's intention of putting boots on ground has been evident, but such an operation would not only face Iran's military fury, its natural defenses as well will be affected. In fact, any ground operation into Iran would have to be highly specific and limited in scope. Otherwise, it could lead to endless deployments with huge costs and limited success, similar to past conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq. So as the clock ticks down on yet another deadline, what is West Asia staring at? Is it heading towards a deal or another deadline, or a much larger and further devastation in this conflict? India has achieved a historic milestone in its civil nuclear program with the prototype fast breeder reactor, or the PFBR, at Tamil Nadu's Kalapakkam reaching criticality stage. Now, this means the reactor has successfully initiated a sustained nuclear fission chain reaction, bringing it one step closer to full commercial operation. This is a defining moment in India's nuclear journey, as it becomes only the second country after Russia to operate a commercial-scale fast breeder reactor. The PFBR is India's most advanced atomic reactor and represents the second stage of the country's three-stage nuclear program. Unlike conventional nuclear reactors, which use water to cool the core and slow neutrons, this reactor uses liquid sodium to transfer heat and maintain high-energy fast neutrons. The unique design enables it to generate more fissile fuel than it consumes, converting fertile uranium-238 into plutonium-239, which can be reused as fuel. Looking ahead, the PFBR paves the way for India's third-stage nuclear program, which will leverage the country's vast thorium reserves. India, remember, holds about 25% of the world's known thorium, while uranium is scarce and must be largely imported. Thorium-232 isotope is fertile but not fissile, which means that it cannot directly produce electricity. It must first be converted into uranium-233, which is a fissile fuel that can undergo nuclear fission in advanced reactors. This offers India the potential to generate up to 500 gigawatts of electricity for the next 400 years using domestic resources, making it a critical element for long-term energy security. When we compare conventional reactors and fast breeder reactors, the differences are striking. Conventional light water reactors consume more fuel. They use slow thermal neutrons and they produce large amounts of nuclear waste. It utilizes only about 1% of the energy in uranium. The PFBR, on the other hand, produces more fuel than it uses, runs on fast, high-energy neutrons, uses liquid metal coolants like sodium, and can utilize up to 80 to 100% of uranium's energy, drastically reducing waste. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded this achievement, praising the scientists and engineers behind the project. He called it a defining step in India's nuclear journey. PM Modi also emphasized that the milestone paves the way to harnessing India's extensive thorium reserves, which are central to the country's long-term energy independence. India's milestone also aligns with the country's broader climate and energy goals. As per reports, the government has outlined an ambitious plan to ramp up nuclear power capacity to 100 gigawatts by 2047 as part of its push towards low carbon and clean energy sources. Fast breeder reactors like the PFBR are seen as potential game changers, enabling long-term energy security while drastically reducing carbon emissions. Alexander Leonov, widely regarded as the brain behind the BrahMos missile, has passed away at the age of 74. His death marks the end of an era in modern missile engineering. Russian missile scientist Leonov served as the CEO and the chief designer of the Mashinostroyenia, a leading Russian defense firm. For nearly 5 decades, Leonov played a pivotal role in shaping cutting-edge missile technologies. For India, his contributions hold special significance. Leonov was closely associated with the development of the BrahMos missile, one of the fastest and most precise supersonic cruise missiles in the world. In fact, the BrahMos project stands as a shining example of the India-Russia defense cooperation as well, and it remains a cornerstone of India's strategic arsenal. It was one of the critical weapons used by India in Operation Sindoor to decimate terror hubs in Pakistan. Leonov is also credited as the key force behind Russia's hypersonic Zircon missile, which is capable of traveling at speeds up to Mach 9, essentially extremely difficult to intercept. While the cause of his death has not been officially disclosed yet, tributes have been pouring in, with many recognizing him as a visionary engineer whose work reshaped modern warfare capabilities.